Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Krawler Yugioh deck profile for post-Dark Neostorm. Been wanting to wrap up the Dark Neostorm booster pack. I've done a lot of deck profiles from the booster set, and one of the last ones I needed to finish up were the Krawler deck. This deck actually started out in the Circuit Break booster pack with the whole deck focusing on flip effects for different special summons and also different effects for basically being destroyed by card effects to special summon more crawlers to the field face down. It's a really fun deck if you're looking for a budget link deck to go for. This is definitely one to consider. And also just with Dark Neostorm, we receive a good amount of support to help with a new boss monster as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the Krawler monsters in the main deck, I run 3 Krawler Receptor. All the Krawler monsters have flip effects, and with Receptor, you can add 1 Krawler monster from your deck to your hand when it's flipped, and if this face-up card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 2 Krawler monsters with different names from your deck in face-down defense, except for Receptor. You can only use each effect of Receptor once per turn. The Krawlers share the special summon mechanic aside from special summoning themselves to the field, but Receptor is really good just for the search option for this card, being able to add more crawlers to use, and then also just like I said, you have great setup for your link summons when you can destroy this card by a card effect via your opponent, and then just have more flip effects to go into. Some of them being Krawler Yugioh, which I also run 3 of. You can special summon 1 Krawler monster when this card is flipped from your hand or graveyard in face-up attack position or face-down defense, except for Yugioh. And also shares the same effect when destroyed by an opponent's card effect of special summoning 2 Krawler monsters face-down, except for Yugioh. So having that special summon option from the hand or graveyard definitely comes in late game, especially when you set up your Receptor in the graveyard that you can just special summon back to the field to reuse for its search. So 3 Yugioh is also definitely needed. I also run 3 Krawler Spine. With this one, you can target 1 monster on the field, destroy that target. It's a very strong flip effect for sure, and then also sharing the same special summon in face down when it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, except for Krawler Spine, of course. 3 ofs for Yugioh, Receptor, and Spine, just for their search, special summon, and destruction power that they can add to the Krawler deck. And for some of the lower numbers, I run 2 Krawler Dendrite. With a flip, you can send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if this face-up card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you have the same special summon capabilities as the other ones. Just the send effect helps to set up for some of your other special summons, especially for the graveyard effects, but I only run the 2 because it's not as situational as the playsets I run of Spine, Receptor, and Yugioh. The send definitely does help, but like I said, not as needed as some of the other cards. And for some other 2 ofs, I also run 2 Krawler Axon. With its flip effect, you target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. I really do like this one, but other than that, I would say the destruction effect of a monster comes into play a little more, depending on like the type of deck you're going up against. If they run spell or trap lineups, not as needed since you're guaranteed to face a lot of monsters against your opponent. And also it shares the same special summon effect as the other Krawler monsters, but another key point is that you can easily get Axon out with your other Krawler monsters to the field if you do need a spell or trap destruction. And lastly, for the 2 ofs, I run 2 Krawler Ranvier. When it's flipped, you can target up to 2 Krawler monsters in your graveyard, add them to your hand. So you have really good recycle power with this one, but you need those crawlers in the graveyard to make use of the add back, of course. And then if this face-up card leaves the field, you have the special summon, except for Krawler Ranvier, face down onto the field, and it only being a once per turn. But like I said, just the recycle power, if you're running low on monsters in the hand, definitely does come in handy with this card for your plays. And then for the new deus-x Krawler, I run 1 of this card. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this face-down card, quick effect, you can change this card to face-up defense, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy this card. After this card is changed face-up, while this card is in the monster zone, negate all monster effects activated on your opponent's turn. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 level 5 monster with a different original type and attribute than this card. You can only use this effect of deus-x Krawler once per turn. So for the additional options, I only run the one of the card. It's really easy to set up with your other Krawler monsters, since you just need a special summon effect of one of the other ones to use it. For some of the other stronger ones, I run the World Legacy World Lance and also World Legacy World Armor. World Lance definitely does go well with the setup for X-Krawler, and for the flip, World Armor just definitely does come in handy for all the other World Krawler monsters. I call them World Crawlers, they're just crawlers. But when a monster is flip summon, you can easily special summon World Armor out to the field, so it's almost like it was made for the deck. World Lance, like I said, just used because of the X-Krawler special summon, and works well with World Armor when you can also. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 World Legacy and Shadow. This is the Krawler field spell. All Krawler monsters in the field gain 300 attack and defense, and once per turn, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower insect monster from your hand in face up or face down defense, and when this flip summon is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster, you can send that opponent's monster to the graveyard. So this field spell really does help to take care of a lot of your opponent's monsters, but also gives you that little extra boost for your crawlers and that additional special summon as well to keep your field full of them. And also, just for the easy search, because the field spell definitely does help you to terraforming, really can't go wrong with the search as long as you have this option, especially since it sends your opponent's monsters. Your opponent's probably going to want to do anything they can to take care of that field spell. And I only have 2 World Legacy Survivor. If I wanted a third one, I'll show you what I would take out later on down the spell and trap lineup. For a third one, you excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, add 1 excavated Krawler monster or World Legacy card to your hand. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard, otherwise shuffle all excavated cards into the deck. And for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except link monsters. You can only activate 1 World Legacy Survivor per turn. It's search, it checks the top 5 cards, so pretty good chance that you'll add a Krawler from the revealed ones to your hand. Like I said, I definitely do want to run 3. I'll show what I would add in for a third copy when we get to that spot. And I also run 3 worm bait with this one. If you control an insect monster, you special summon 2 worm tokens, and you cannot normal or special summon any level 3 or 4 monsters until you activate this. This easy special summon gives you your Krawler link monsters so easily for your plays, and the fact that it isn't a once per turn, you just have to control, an insect monster, is a very easy setup for the deck and just keeps on giving you resources as long as you have this card in your hand. And I also run 3 Call by the Grave. Just Effect Veiler, being able to stop the flip summon is one thing I really hate about that. It can mess up your plays, especially if you need that flip. So Call by the Grave, stopping hand traps in the graveyard, definitely does come in handy. And lastly, I run 1 Monster Reborn. This is just, I like it for the boss monsters especially, but also just if I need that extra resource from the graveyard, or even one of my Krawler link monsters, which has the side-by-side arrows, can definitely help as well. And that is it for the spells. For the traps, I run 3 World Legacy Pawn. You can target 1 face-down monster you control, change it to face-up attack position or defense, and you can shuffle 1 Krawler monster from your graveyard into the main deck, then target 1 face-up monster you control, change it to face-down defense. You can only use 1 World Legacy Pawn's effect per turn, and only once that turn. So being a trap, you have the setup to decide when you want to use the effect, but being able to make full use of your flip monsters with this card is a definite 3 of for that reason alone. And I also run 3 World Legacies Mind Meld. When an opponent's monster activates its effect while you control a Krawler monster, the activated effect becomes, when a face-up monster your opponent controls return to the hand, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 link monster on the field, special summon 1 Krawler monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard to a zone this card points to, and face down defense. You can only use 1 World Legacy Mind Meld effect per turn, and only once that turn. So just being able to activate a return 1 face-up card your opponent controls to the graveyard definitely does change your opponent's plays, but the graveyard effect definitely does help for the special summon of a Krawler monster. And then lastly, I also just run 2 back to the front. Same reasoning as Monster Reborn in the deck, but if I were to, I want the 3rd copy of World Legacy Survivor, so I would take out 1 of the back to the fronts for another copy of this card for sure. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I don't have any Krawler Yugioh, I believe it is the Link 2 with the 2 arrows pointing to the bottom left and right spots. So if I wanted to run that, I'll show what cards to take out. But for some of the other ones, I run 2 X Krawler Synapsis. You need 2 Earth monsters to make this card. And with it, world monsters... Krawler monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and they gain 300 attack and defense and can make up to 2 attacks on your opponent's monsters during the battle phase. And if this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, while you control it, you can target 2 Krawler monsters with different names and special summon them in face-down defense. Having the same special summon definitely does come in handy. Just being able to set this card up definitely does help for protection against some of your opponent's cards. I also run 2 X Krawler Neurogos. With this one, you need 2 insects, so definitely does help with your worm bait, especially. But Synapsis also has the requirement of 2 earth monsters, so worm bait comes in handy for that too. But for this one, Krawler monsters, this card points to cannot be destroyed by battle and also gain 300 attack. And if it battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage they inflict to your opponent instead is doubled. So you have a power-up play and also the same special summon effect with this one also. I have 1 Insector Picofalana in the deck for just basically a spot filler. It has the same arrows as Squilliark, so if you want to add Squilliark in, just take out the Picofalana for that, and then the additional monster I would take out is the 1 Herald of Pure Light, just for all the level 2s running in the deck for an Exceed summon, but these 2 would come out for the last Link monster X Krawler we were missing for the deck. And then for a little more generic play, 1 Mrs. Radiant, since they the Krawlers are the level 2 ones, are all Earth monsters. Also 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Security Dragon, 1 Akashic Magician, 1 Topologic Trisbana, 1 Saryuja, and 1 Borreload. With Wormbait, you're just limited to the level monsters, so links definitely do come in handy for the deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you feel I missed any cards that got overlooked from Dark Neostorm and want me to do a deck profile still on that set, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.